Welcome to That's So Rad podcast. I'm your host, Travis Vangsnes. This is a podcast about people, their passions, their life experiences, and their stories. As writer Frederick Buechner once said, the story of any one of us is in some measure the story of us all. All of us can learn something valuable from someone else's life and their stories. Join us for another conversation where we learn, laugh, and leave, seeing our own life in new ways. What's more rad than that? Welcome to That's So Rad podcast. I'm your host, Travis. I'm joined by a special guest, my mom, Kathy. Welcome to the podcast. You're so excited.
She is.
So, one of the themes on a couple of my family guests being on the podcast this year has been talking about my son Dre was on, and I think he mentioned that it was a Father's Day gift to hop on Dad's podcast. So, hey, we'll take that. So Christmas gift for mom, from mom to me to be on, right? Because it's probably going to shock the rest of our siblings. Mom's on a podcast. But really excited to have you on. We're going to have a fun kind of recounting the year of 2025 and talking about Christmas. This is a Christmas episode. If you're watching YouTube, which switch over to YouTube to see my beard is decorated. I've got the beard bulbs in, got a Christmas green kind of aura behind me, and we've got some props. So here we go. So thanks for being on today, Mom. I think we're going to have a fun convo, and it'll be fun to talk through this. So you just got back from the Amazon, and we're not talking the Amazon shipment center. We're talking the Amazon River,
yeah.
Bring us into that. This was right before Thanksgiving.
Okay, and it was over Thanksgiving, actually.
Over Thanksgiving,
so just in November. I got to go on a medical mission trip down the Amazon. So we flew into Bogota. From there, we went to a town called Leticia. From there, we got on a speedboat to go about 2.5 to 3 hours down the Amazon River to meet up with the medical mission ship. So I spent a week on a medical mission boat it would have been a few doctors, a dentist, pharmacist, staff. Wonderful experience just going down the Amazon River to tribal villages, actually.
Yeah.
Way down on the Amazon, off on tributaries from the Amazon.
Wow. That's incredible. So, I'm just going to say this is what makes this a rad story, and how you're an amazing person at your age, not to give away your exact age, but you're over 70. And who is doing that? Who is going on the Amazon River? It's legendary. So, yeah. So,
why wouldn't you want to go down the Amazon and meet some of the people
in
those remote areas?
Right. Yeah, for sure. And it sounds like it was, a memory you'll never forget. And it was tremendous work, both to, like you said, do some medical care and kind of give people care in that way. And then also to talk about Jesus and share all that. So very, very cool. Now we're laughing because so you literally got back, was it the day before Thanksgiving? You were there for Thanksgiving. That's right. Okay.
Because we did get a Thanksgiving meal on the boat, and it was spaghetti, because that was spaghetti. American.
Okay. So spaghetti on the Amazon River. And then we were hanging out at a late Thanksgiving party, and you were telling us some of the stories and stuff. And then I remember my sister Steph and I were hanging out with you, and looked down, you had like a stain on your right hand or whatever, like this like dark stain. And we don't know if it was a mystery like river water or what. Is the stain still there?
Okay, let me tell you about that.
Okay, the stain.
Okay. I'm on this medical mission trip, right, with my brother, one of his granddaughters, and a doctor from Spartanburg, and then others from Canada. So anyway, I think we're going to just go into the villages and meet with people and hopefully share the gospel with them, get to know them. So my first day, I'm told that I will sterilize all the equipment in the dental office. So for 8 hours, I sterilized dental equipment. So hard telling what got on my hands through that. The next days I was to do heart monitors and blood pressure and all of that. Never done that before, but was able to do that. Well, underneath one of the little girls, there was a puddle. So I thought, well, maybe something came through her diaper or whatever, and I didn't want her to step in it. So I got paper towels and just tried to clean it carefully without touching my hand. So whatever it was left a stain for a few days. But I
But
cleaned up whatever needed to be cleaned up.
do we have a stain update about a month out? Are we still fading?
No. So I don't know if it was just some medicine. I'm not sure.
Yeah.
We did a lot of deworming, giving little
Yeah.
children worm medicine and that kind of thing. So there were lots and lots of kids in this little clinic on the boat. So hard telling what it was, but it didn't bother me a bit to have the yellow hand. That was just
the yellow hand. You brought
one
back
of many things.
a souvenir, whether you intended that or not. But we'll keep an eye on that. But no, that's I mean, wow. So well, so that was awesome. I was meaning to do this. I didn't sit down. You were also in Taiwan this year earlier. So I was going to sit down and do the math of like just how many miles you've traveled in 2025. It's unbelievable. So
It
maybe
was
we'll
a
talk a
long
bit
trip
more.
over to Taiwan for sure, and we traveled many miles there. So,
Yeah. Well, okay. So let's talk a little bit about for both of us, just this year in review, kind of highlights or things that have stuck out. I just wanted to say, personally, for our family, I think 2025 was a really rough year starting out. And I've got a lot of friends and stuff that they talk about this has been a tough year. So, we all have different experiences. We're all different places. Some people are probably had an amazing year, but for a lot of people that I know, this was a tough year. So for us though, at the beginning of this year, way back January or something. So, my nephew, your grandson Hudson, horrible pneumonia battle. How long was he in the hospital, children's hospital?
it was, I don't remember the length of time.
3 weeks, maybe
quite a
plus,
while.
maybe 3 plus. Scary moments. I mean, just could not get this, little guy, and just could not get sort of
But such
the
a
pneumonia
trooper.
Yeah.
What a little trooper.
So just, to be my brother Dan and his wife Jenny, and to walk through that in the sphere and have surgical procedures and just to sort of kind of be in the dark for so long and just go, is he gonna get better? And like, so I think just walking that with them and, just putting myself in the shoes of a dad, with a son battling through that. And thank God, he came out of it, but it was harrowing. And so that kind of kicked the earlier part of and then my brother Jeremy, your son, he always gives us a scare about, once a year there's sort of this annual pneumonia scare with him or something that puts him in the hospital. And for those of you who don't know, he suffered a traumatic brain injury in 2009. And so he's in a wheelchair and fed by a tube, and he's 24/7 care. And so his health is very precarious. So after Hudson gets discharged, not long later, then Jeremy goes in, and, oxygen was way down, had to go to the ambulance over there. And again, another scary stay. So it was just a really tough start to the year. He did kick it, got out of there. We celebrated his discharge. I can't remember how long he was in. Was he in 10 plus days? Made a pneumonia piñata. And we had a pneumonia piñata party bashing that thing. So, but yeah, that was kind of how we ushered in 25. And then I feel like it kind of, well, after that, I mean, anything better than that is a smoother experience. So what stands out for you as you review the year after those tough things?
I would say one thing that has been tough for me too, in a good and hard way, is to just sort of walk a path with my good friend Wanda, who has terminal cancer. Just miss those times that we could just spend together. And now it's just more over the phone than anything else.
Yeah.
But I will say, to just see her love for the Lord and her not wanting to disappoint him in any way, but to be faithful to do what she can and to
Mm-hmm.
maintain a positive attitude, even in pain and suffering and
Mm-hmm.
knowing death is coming, and having
Mm-hmm.
lost her husband not that long
Yeah.
before. A lot of hard things for her. Some other friends too that have had some hard things. Most have recovered from that, but I guess when you really care about somebody, you sort of walk along with them and you hurt as when they hurt, you
Yep.
know?
Yeah. 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 So that is tough. And yeah, that's a good way to put that, of like, you hurt when they hurt. And it's tough to know, I guess, what to say often, or, just to be there and to love them through it and their journey. And so, yeah, I know that's been a really tough thing that you and I have talked about with her and some other your friends that are,
Mm-hmm.
yeah. So yeah, those have been some of the harder things. What have been some other highlights for you, or highlights for the year?
The highlights, well, lots of fun things with family. I guess I've got to travel a lot. I've been to Tennessee. I've been to North Dakota to see my parents and siblings twice. I've gotten to go to Taiwan for 18 days. I got to go down the Amazon for 8 days. Got to go to the beach. I've just gotten to do so many things. Gotten to be in 2 different jungles, to tread through jungles, which I never thought I would do. So for me, in many ways, it's been a year of adventure.
Yeah, yeah, for
Mm-hmm.
sure. Yeah, I mean, world traveler and across the globe trekking. Yeah, I was thinking for myself, sort of very different. I mean, obviously, I've not done that this year, but if I were to put a theme of what my highlights, or kind of, it's sort of almost been really the complete opposite of more really grounded just in our city, really. We have, well, I would say actually we started off the year with a wedding anniversary cruise to celebrate our 18th, and that was sort of in the Caribbean with some
Mm-hmm.
bands that we love, and that was pretty epic and
Mm-hmm.
awesome. That was the early part of the year, but definitely the my daughter playing varsity volleyball, going to all that and supporting her, and then my son Asher, as a sophomore, went out for football for the first time, JV team, made the team, and then late into the season, he's a starter out there as a wide receiver. So so that football's near and dear to my heart. Played that position, and so you came to some games, Mom, to support him, and but yeah, that was awesome. Just our kids and following them around, and then I would say a huge thing. This was fairly recently, but we had a huge birthday bash to celebrate my brother Jeremy's 38th. Is that the 38th
Mm-hmm.
birthday?
Yeah.
So it was like, I could do a whole episode. I wish, yeah, I would do a whole episode on the stories behind this, but basically just this huge party with friends in a band, spoken word, rap, entertainment, um, uh, goofy costumes, and a
Mm-hmm.
run along a trail. Jeremy was a huge runner back in the day, and so just this huge festive party of joy, really bringing just joy to the city of Spartanburg, sort of as Jeremy being an ambassador of joy and making an awesome party for him. So
Mm-hmm.
that was early November, I feel like, and we just had awesome weather, and family was all part of that. And so yeah, very, very cool. That was a huge highlight of the year for me. So um do you have a quote that sort of, I'm just curious, that sort of highlights or represents your year in any way? You and I are big quote people, so
I just see God's love for people, but in all of it, it's that Jesus is glorified by lives. And I sure
mhm.
saw that, like in Taiwan, those few that came to know the Lord had such joy. And I think what glory that brings to God. Those that didn't, some are searching, some don't know. And then going down the Amazon, just a pastor that had just been saved. God God saved his life, and the joy and the reaching out to others. And I guess more than anything through this year, I've just seen that Christ can be glorified, and that's the main purpose of our lives, that we're here to glorify him. And I just want to focus on that, not to be super spiritual or anything. I don't mean that. I just come more with an awareness that it's really all about Jesus.
Which is Christmas. We celebrate the joy of Christ. So, but then, as you said, also to what you've seen personally this year of serving Him and giving God the glory, and how powerful that's been. Yeah, to see through yourself and others. So very cool. I would say a quote for me, and I have thousands of quotes. A quote, one of my all-time favorite quotes, and just continues to sort of be something I really think about a lot, and is sort of a grounding thing for me. In middle age too, as a dad that's 46 now, and is Kurt Vonnegut, the writer of Kurt Vonnegut's quote, that when he says, enjoy the little things in life, because someday you'll look back and realize they were the big things. I love that quote so much, because it helps to kind of continue to see like these little moments, maybe being at a game, maybe going hiking together, maybe a party, that you have, painting with, when you're a kid, just these things that are these mundane things are often the things that later in life we look back at our own parents. Like I might look back at with you or dad, and just go, those were the things that seemingly small memory was one of the greatest memories of my life. Or the intentionality behind something small. It's not always the big trip, the big extravagant thing. I think so often, someone said, how we live our days is how we live our lives. So anyway, I love that. That kind of reminds me of just being present. So I'm going to continue to work on being present this year in the small things.
Yeah. Yes. Just to enjoy the time you have where you are, what you're doing.
Right. Because life flies by. It really has flown by. So
it really does.
Okay. So if, as I said at the beginning, if the decor on my face and head is not somehow festively proclaiming Christmas, that's what we're going to talk about for the brunt of this Christmas episode. So I want to open it with some highlights of the year and reflections as we look on 2025. So let's talk Christmas. And I can see my beard's strobe lights are still going. Okay. So in fact, actually I want to start with, and this is crazy. I have a couple things to share, pictures and different things, but just today in my Facebook feed, there was, if you can kind of see this, I'm going to hold this up. This is Dad and me together. This is probably in 2022 or 2021, somewhere in there. We both rocking the beard bulbs there. And so Dad a little less excited there. I don't know if he knew what was happening, but anyway, so that's a great, and it just popped up today. This was the day, December 17th. So wild. Okay. So I want to hear from you of like, when you, even way back as a kid, whether it was your grandparents, this is way back in North Dakota, a long time ago. Can you think of what memories come to mind of like way back as a kid that you remember around Christmas?
Oh, I have lots of memories around Christmas. In North Dakota at Christmas time, there was almost always snow. So just being outside by a yard light and watching the snow fall, those big snowflakes fall to the ground, and reaching my tongue out as a kid, to grab the flakes, and and running around the yard pole, and all the fun things right at that Christmas season was even more. Winter was fun as a kid, but there was something special about Christmas. So things that I remember, I had grandparents on both my mom and dad's side that lived right in that area, as well as other relatives. So we would have to have our family, immediate family Christmas before Christmas, because we
Mm-hmm.
would go to my grandma Blessum's
Mm-hmm.
for Christmas Eve, grandma Ostrom's and grandpa Ostrom's for Christmas Day. So Christmas went for several days, as we were with different family. So lots of fun things to remember. Wonderful food, and as a kid, you have to get through food and dishes before you can open presents. So do I remember a lot of the food? No. I just remember the excitement of there were presents for us under the tree.
Mm-hmm.
And we didn't, Christmas was a time for us when we got presents. We didn't get presents all year round, so to look forward to something special. Maybe it was a doll. Maybe it was,
Mm-hmm.
a playhouse. It, it was something precious to get, and we were so thankful for those things. So opening up presents, we go over to my grandpa and grandma Blessum's farm. I remember one year we went sledding down the hill over a lake before we came back and opened presents, when the snow was falling. Going into my grandma Ostrom's and grandpa Ostrom's, there was always food and laughter. And my grandpa thought it was so much fun to make a big box and wrap it up for us. And then we
Mm-hmm.
kids would unwrap that box to find another box. Finally, at the end of the box, there was a carrot. Now, he thought that was funny, you know, but we got to know Grandpa's sense of humor wasn't the same as ours as kids. But I know how much they all loved us. A family just got along. Everyone got along so well. So Christmas was just a festive time. Mom making fudge and homemade cookies and all the Norwegian treats. And it was just a real special time of year. And I will say, because I was so excited about Christmas stockings, I was up at 3 a.m, making sure everybody else was up so we could enjoy Christmas, the beginning of Christmas Day.
Well, we have one of those kids ourselves. 6-year-old Dak would do that. That's great. So, and you remember, because we talk about this, it seems like the weather has changed. So even though it's still brutally cold up there, it seems like the amount of snowfall and things like that, like it has went down from what even it used to be. I mean,
Yeah, it
to
was
where
because
you had.
we would snowmobile across the fields. Now, you need some snow to snowmobile in a field. Some years they don't have a lot of that.
Yeah.
My brother Dwayne and I would build igloos, because
Yep.
the snow was just such that you could make squares or rectangles and build them on top of one another, tunnel through snow. We'd walk through the snow to little ponds way out in the fields or the pastures and go
Yeah.
skating on those. So I remember a lot more snow as a kid.
Yeah.
So there was more at that time.
Well, and I think isn't there a story of is it 19, was it like 49 or some crazy
48, I think.
okay,
Maybe 48.
where the snow was, is it as high as like the Highline wires, the telephone pole, the wires, and where the like National Guard was in there and like just to clear highways and stuff like, I mean, it's just unbelievable seeing the pictures.
Yeah, and I remember a story my grandma telling too. They would go into the town where we lived, Rugby. It was about 3 miles maybe into town. It was fine when they went into town. On the way home, it was a blizzard and they couldn't see. So my grandfather had to find the fence and work his way for probably 1.5 miles up that fence to get actually to the farm. The blizzard was that severe.
That's wild. I think I've read 2 stories of where farmers almost had like ropes across just the farm, like from the barn to the house, and like and literally couldn't see to get there, back and forth, and like even could die. I mean, geez, it's like 50 below.
And the whirling snow means that you lose perception. You don't know which direction you're going in. If you're turning around, it's very dangerous. So my grandpa did that once. I remember that, the rope going all the way to the barn because he had to milk the cows, and then come back with the milk to the house.
It's wild. Wild, tough people. I'm trying to think what comes to mind of just our own family holiday traditions. I'm thinking growing up there, as a kid. And I do remember on the farm, not maybe every year, but I do remember going with Dad and staff or some of the kids and picking out a Christmas tree on the property. And it's like, so North Dakota is like the most treeless state in the country already. And then if you have limited trees on a farm, it really was like the Charlie Brown Christmas tree. Because I mean, it's just like, it's whatever's out there. And I remember we cut down this small pine tree or something. And I remember you get it back in the house and there was a giant, like the whole back of it was gone, which I don't think you could see that because the snow was covering the whole tree when you had it. So it's it's like missing the whole, it's like a half a tree. So fit nice into the corner though.
Yeah, it was fun to go out and get a tree. Even when we were in Senegal, West Africa, we had to go out and get a tree. Well, there's no pine trees there. So we got some scraggly something. And I remember decorating it. And it was as close as I could come to a Christmas tree.
I was going to ask you that because you did spend at least the Christmas then overseas in Africa. This is, I guess, when
we were there for 3.5 years.
Okay, so you spent at least the Christmas, more than one, wow, in Africa. Wow.
No snow, and it was really hot.
Jeez.
But you still try and make it sort of like Christmas.
You're right. Yeah. Well, and people to that point, I mean, I've heard so many stories of people where, maybe it was you got stranded or you're at a hotel or it wasn't the normal Christmas experience. But because you had to get creative, maybe you made a tree out of, or you had a tiny little thing that you set up and it was not the normal, but that becomes kind of the Christmas memory you'll never forget, because it's just you're just kind of making it, and magic kind of happens when you kind of do that.
And even little things like what's special at Christmas? Well, pumpkin pie, apple pie, pecan pie. Well, didn't have any of those things in Africa, but we did have cashew fruit. So the cashew nut, there's one nut that grows on the fruit. So I learned how to make so-called apple pie using cashew fruit.
Wow. Can we?
So see how you can improvise.
Let's put that. Let's try some of that. How many cashew?
Very good.
But it was a cashew, so it was a big, like it's what a cashew nut comes from? I'm like...
Yeah, there's one nut on that fruit, and the fruit is sort of spongy, but it can almost give a little taste like an apple,
Wow.
So...
I was going to say, let's try that, but do we want to? That would be kind of fun to just see. But I don't know how we find one of those fruits. What else can you think of any that we had as a family with you and Dad, and besides, I know we had the sort of our grandma Dolores's that experience. Christmas Eve I felt like was always kind of the staple, and she had the big Chex Mix bowl, and kind of it was very traditional. It's kind of always the same thing, which you kind of liked because that was just that it felt like that's Christmas, is going to Grandma Dolores's and always the kind of the same things, and like, I love that. And then your mom, Grandma Marlis, was everything but tradition.
One year it was Mexican, so we got to sing Mexican songs and eat Mexican food. One year it was Norwegian, so we learned, just the customs of Norway. And, we had some traditional things, a lot of the Norwegian foods like the lefse, krumkake, that kind of thing. But with Mom, it was always learning something. So we were going to get some kind of a lesson at Christmas Eve, as well as Dad reading the Christmas story. So you kids, you would have all gotten in on all those fun things that Grandma loved to do. Yeah.
Yeah, she's a one of a kind. Like if their documentary could be made about it, would be amazing to have Grandma Marlis. I mean, just the imagination, the teaching, the unique, it's just like, there's no one like her. And but I remember that distinctly of like, just Christmas it was just, what's this year going to be? What are we going to be eating? What are we, what talent show am I going to be in that I'm, performing some kind of,
And if it was Mexican food, it was not what you buy at the store. You made it,
Yeah.
So we all got
Yeah.
in on the cooking experience as well. And with Mom, you were always going to learn something, no matter when you
Yeah.
came to visit. So Christmas was a time of learning, and learning the Bible as well
Hmm.
as learning, other
Right.
things. But
Yeah. Yeah, and the gift I think for us as a kid, looking back, we grew up in a state that doesn't have a lot of diversity or a lot of culture as sort of like a melting pot of places where, in bigger demographics or, big cities or even states that have a much bigger population where
yeah.
you have all those ethnicities together. We didn't really have that. So her kind of exposing us to learning about that stuff was awesome. I mean, it was like really a forward thinking vision, and that helped us. It's like it's a gift. You've already named some Christmas foods. Gosh, I was just asking about this, but what were those I don't know why I keep thinking of this, but what were the Grandma Dolores had these they weren't they green? It was like well, there were wreaths. I remember the like cornflake wreaths in marshmallows. There was that, but there was what was the crunchy dessert that uh we were just talking about this like in the shape of a star, or was it a no? My
I'm not
okay,
sure.
I'm dreaming this.
No, I'm sure you're
Yeah, there
right.
was something, a rosette, not a
Yeah, rosettes would be deep fried. Yeah, and
oh,
that would
that's what
have
it
that
was.
shape.
Okay, a
That's a
rosette's deep
Norwegian
fried.
delicacy. Yeah.
Okay. The Norwegians fried stuff. I didn't know that.
Yeah, those were deep fried. There weren't too many things deep fried.
No, I was gonna say that doesn't seem very Scandinavian. So yeah, I'm thinking one thing I'm thinking more in like modern, like our own family now, and a thing I think that became a really big holiday tradition through our family more recently in the last 15 years down in South Carolina or whatever, but was the white elephant exchange is a staple that I feel like when we were poor in North Dakota, I feel like the white elephant gift was our true gifts. It's like whatever you could wrap that came from a hand-me-down or something. But but this has been an awesome, I mean, oh my gosh, we've took it up a notch of like everyone's going out weeks ahead of time, the Goodwills, and just getting some hilarious stuff. I mean, we've had some, like, we're the family that our white elephant isn't the like get something that's kind of kind of cool from Amazon that's cheap or whatever, and you're exchanging. No, we're straight up like get get the weird record album, get a giant pair of underwear. I can't remember all of that. A kid might come home with a chandelier that dad doesn't want to put up. We get the randomest stuff. Yeah. So, thinking about, as we're kind of on this track for Christmas memories, do you have any worse memories, like all-time low memories of any Christmases that were just not normal, or everyone was sick, or
I really don't have any memories of being sick or not being able to celebrate Christmas, or I don't even remember a blizzard where we couldn't get
yeah,
out for
yeah,
Christmas. Or I guess the memories I have are all positive memories.
sure, yeah. Well, I know one that you're maybe just you've
Missing.
or it's like there's a reason you've tried to file this one away. This was in let's say, I'm going to throw a number out there, 2015. I'm just throwing this out there. So we have a huge family. Obviously there's 6 of us siblings, and then everyone has like 5 kids now, I think, right, at least. So just our immediate family's big, but we had a gathering where some others came from out of town and the stomach flu hit. Do you remember this, or have you try to black it out? Like,
Probably did. Don't want to remember that one.
But it was legendarily bad. I mean, it was because you guys had a trip planned to the Biltmore, which is a huge mansion here nearby. That was a whole tour.
And I didn't get sick, so maybe
you didn't get,
fine.
And it was very weird because it did like skip a few people. Like, I don't know if it was common blood type, or I don't know, because when you're all together, but randomly some got skipped. But it was like, I mean, you're curled up on the floor, like convulsing bad, like stomach flu. And I think it was pretty short lived, but it was tough. So that hit and spread. And the thing about it is, obviously, like I said, big family, but then everybody with Christmas is then also leaving to go home. And so you're on the road. So like, think of stomach flu, really contagious, and you're on the road. So I remember our trip was to St. Louis, which is about a 12-hour drive. Midway through, all hell is breaking loose. Not good. Yeah. And then but people, like, I think others were going to Atlanta, and like, so we're like, also metro areas are now involved because we're bringing this. Like, I was thinking, like, man, we're on the CDC's like most wanted list for like quarantining, because it was a gift that kept on giving.
Yeah. So I guess I sent you all where you were going, so it was
You
fine
sent
at our house.
us away. You sent us away, and we infected the country. I mean, the U.S. was. I mean, we were at the epicenter of that. We were the spreader, the super spreader event. But yeah, that was a wild. That was a. Besides that though too, looking way back, I don't remember. Yeah, I mean, of hearing some people were just something really hard on a. We just always.
And a family, everyone got along well, so there wasn't, you were hoping somebody didn't come, or there was never that. It was just the excitement to just be together.
Yeah, for sure. So let's end our Christmas segment with talking a little bit about what are some of your favorite, you've kind of talked about some growing up. Are there any, if you were to just pick out a few all-time memories, or just as you look back?
I remember, so wanting this particular doll that it could dress in Western kinds of clothes and whatever. Remember just being so excited, to get that. I guess so much of it was just all the fun of just the holidays, the fun of having caramels and fudge, in the morning you could have it, and the fun of waking up to baked eggs and ham and muffins. That would be typical, Mom did like typical breakfast for the holidays.
Yeah.
So just as far as special memories, it wasn't like there was such a difference from year to year, but just the continuity of just a specialness of the holidays.
Yeah.
And the Christmas programs at school and church, those were special, that we got to take part in. The candlelight services. Going sleigh riding with friends, behind a sleigh and horses, around the Christmas holidays. Singing jingle bells, as you go. And, I've just been so blessed with so many happy memories.
Yeah, that really, you saying that sparked, I didn't even think of this, but now I am, of like, because some of mine are a lot more recent, but all that you said, and as a kid growing up, it's the magic, sort of, it feels like as a kid, feels so much more magical. But I do remember, we've talked about how, just caroling has kind of vanished. It's not, it doesn't seem like at all what that used to be as a cultural thing. But I do remember as a kid too, of just how cool, how fun, like that really felt like such a cultural thing that I just don't feel like a lot of us experience anymore, where like you're and it was a small town, and that was different. You knew a lot of
Mm-hmm.
the people, but I remember like going through those things into nursing homes and just kind of the community of
Mm-hmm.
that type of a thing, the feeling of doing that with, your uncles and aunts and grandmas and just kind of that whole thing. And
Mm-hmm.
yeah, I distinctly remember some
Because
of
we
that.
did that for several years, I think. Then we would
Yeah,
go afterwards and have hot chocolate and
right.
cookies, and
Yeah, yeah,
mm-hmm.
yeah. That's and Yeah. And then now we're in South Carolina, and you've talked about this. We've talked about this a lot. When you lack the snow and really probably even the cold. But it does. I think we've gotten so used to it where it's just like, yeah, we don't have snow on it. But when you grew up with that as part of your Christmas experience,
Mm-hmm.
kind of living in a
It's not,
place where there's just never snow,
it's
rarely,
not the same.
it isn't. And, but, we noticed, so a couple of mine that we probably overlap on, a few of mine that came to mind. So one was, and this goes back maybe to 2010, 2011. We've already talked about Jeremy here, but was in a coma and was completely really unresponsive for a year. I mean, I'm maybe a little foggy in the timeline here, but where just essentially feels trapped in his body, which he to some degree then still is, but where there was no purposeful, like technically he was out of a coma, but obviously he's not speaking, he's not, even the way he
Mm-hmm.
looks at your eyes, I mean, it's like he's just, I've described it as sort of a piece of furniture in the room. He's just with us, right? And but there was this really amazing, and I feel like God sort of orchestrated these dramatic moments this way, where we were living in St. Louis, we come back, for Christmas, and our family, all the siblings are gathered, and it was like that. I want to say maybe it was the first Christmas after the accident, or at least the next year, where we're playing around Christmas, Who Wants to Be a Millionaire, and it was for the all of a sudden just something like Jeremy's eyes were present, like he was like he's with us, you could just like
Mm-hmm.
he's understand the game or whatever, I know suddenly he was laughing. And it wasn't long after that you could see he's like moving his foot or arm, and that corresponds with something. And Steph got him to spell something. So that was a Christmas miracle,
Mm-hmm. It sure
of
was.
his, that's continued, and now to this day, where he spells all kinds of things, and he's still very limited. But you look back
Mm-hmm.
at that first sort of unlocking moment,
Mm-hmm.
and it's like, wow. And it was a true gift because we were all together. It was like, if that event would have happened, it would have still been a miracle.
Mm-hmm.
But the fact we were together to experience it felt like it was a gift from God. Like, this is a gift for you for Christmas.
Mm-hmm.
Our daughter Joelle, that was born on the 23rd up in St. Louis, so that was a Christmas baby that we have a
Mm-hmm.
Christmas picture in a stocking.
Mm-hmm.
And I have to end it with this one. So this is around, I'm going to say, now I'm going back in time, 2000, I don't know, 6, 7, somewhere in there. 6, 7, I did it. All the little kids would be proud. There was so I was coming off a really difficult year, personally. My wife at the time, being married before, had stepped out of our marriage just out of the blue. It was just a absolute wreckage of a year for me. And then this was later in the year, and Christmas is coming up, and I remember how much for me humor has always been, and was part of my healing in that, and the loss of that relationship, and the sadness and the grief and all that kind of stuff. And so I remember one of the things that came to my mind was, it would be how can I, so again, humor was a way to cope. And I had this idea of like, when I come down to your guys' house for Christmas, I have to come uh, in a dramatic way. So I got this idea to take cowboy boots and attach them to roller skates, the roller skate platform, called them the high heels on wheels. So here they are, still have them. The high heels on wheels, or the giddy up and goes. Giddy up and goes. So what I did is wanted to surprise the family for Christmas. So I come, you guys lived on a hill. So and it was actually kind of icy, I remember.
It was
because
a good hill.
It was a good hill and it was icy. And I attached sparklers to these. So the idea was I'm going to park somewhere up in the hill, throw on the giddy up and goes, and I'm going to, call you guys, hey, I don't know how I was having you be at the porch to look for me, but anyway, I came down. And so I remember sparklers on, sparking and flashing. I wipe out, so I'm way up on the hill. I wipe out and I probably nearly fall on them and get burned. And then anyway, I was able to get back up and then coasted down the hill wearing the cowboy boots. Do you remember that?
I remember that.
But it was
it was a sight to see.
It was a sight to see, but it was almost a thing that was just, it was levity. Mm-hmm. It was distraction, something funny, and it was kind of it almost represented a new chapter of coming home. So yep, and I did. So
only you would have created such a scenario.
Yeah, it was one last little thing around Christmas, and this is really special. I had to bring this out. This is, is it centered? It's so big I can't even see.
Oh yeah.
Pretty good. Okay. This was Dad's final Christmas. And what I love about it is just the smile. It just so much captured, with his beard and just like those warm kind eyes, just like that we were able to get that. And it's just such an iconic kind of picture of Dad, his life. Yeah. So that was a Christmas gift. So any other Christmas related, we probably
could share things for hours, but those are some of the highlights, I guess.
Yeah. Well, it's fun to look back and think about that stuff. So, final stretch here as we close this out. Looking into the new year, where is next on your globe to travel? Do you know anything yet? This could be breaking news on this podcast of you got a trip to the pyramids or something in store.
I'll be honest, there was no way I thought of going to Taiwan. And when Steph and Jeff were asked to go as teachers and they said, they need teachers, you can come with us. I thought, okay, we'll give it a try. And then when Dwayne said, you need to go down the Amazon with us and I'll show you some of the things I remember when I was there. Well, I guess I could do that too. So there's no reason I can't. So I didn't anticipate those trips either. So I know our church is doing some mission trips, but I don't know what the new year brings.
Yeah.
I'm as long as I'm able to do things and I'm willing to try.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, and yeah, I mean, we talk about this. I mean, you are, thank God for your health and your, energy and stuff. But I mean, at 76, I mean, you're running, you run. I mean,
I jump on the tramp.
Seriously,
I do all those things.
What grandma and at mid 70s, you're jumping on a trampoline. I mean,
most grandmas wouldn't want to jump on a trampoline.
Well, most grandmas are, if they can walk to the trampoline to watch, I mean, that's a win. So you are very unique in being that. So, anything that you are especially excited about in the new year coming up, or that you can think about, just comes to mind, or.
And what I love most is, I love being with family, playing games with Jack and doing all of these things and the trips. And another thing I so enjoy is just I have time to study.
Yeah.
I have time I went through the book of Nahum. I've been through, Esther. I've gotten to do some studying that I just never had time to do before,
Yeah.
and to lead a Bible study. So what I really want to do is just not just focus on world events, because there's a lot going on and a lot to be aware of, but to really come to a greater grasp of what's in the scripture and to know God in a more personal way than I do now, to really know him. So that's to read books of the Bible I've just never really studied. And looking forward to more time, hopefully, for those things, and to spend more time with friends. I have some very precious friends.
Yeah. That's awesome. That sounds like good goals. And then we have some land in East Tennessee that we love to go out with you, and we have a little cabin and some places out there that's just
I love to go.
Country mountains, and it's just I just go out there for soul care and retreat. I'm thinking for myself, I got to pick up the ukulele again. That's kind of a goal for me. Really got into that this year, and then just got sidelined, came out of the routine of it. And but yeah, I want to get going on that, kind of play around with that. That's been really good for me. I'm with you too on just, I really want to, for me, I think 26 is a year I want to kind of streamline, to kind of go, what are friendships I really want to pour into that kind of seem reciprocal? Where's my capacity, and what, we're all limited, and sometimes we can overdo and just get burned out easily, and then get frustrated, and then it's just a snowball effect. So I think for me, it's a year of kind of focusing on investing in some friendships more. And I've had a blast with this podcast, and hanging out with old friends and new friends, and just kind of talking about life and stories and laughing, and it's really been fun. So looking forward to more of the podcast stuff, and just excited for see what the year holds. So thanks for hanging out with us today, and hope you have an awesome Christmas and holiday season, and good start to your new year.
For sure. Merry Christmas.
Hope you enjoyed the episode today. Check out the show notes for any links or resources shared in the episode. If you enjoy the podcast, it would be really appreciated if you'd subscribe, leave a 5-star review, and share it with friends. May we all remember these words from writer Mary Oliver. Instructions for living a life. Pay attention, be astonished, tell about it.